Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and we're talking about celebrity photography and what it's like to photograph people that are maybe complicated, eccentric, but they're all extremely successful, the people that I work with. And especially today, I want to talk about Walter Mercado. Walter Mercado is extremely famous, in case you don't know, south of the border and in Europe and throughout the Americas. Walter is an astrologer, and he has taken his astrology and he's been able to communicate with his fellow human beings and everybody, no matter what walk of life that they're in. They love Walter. He's very, very lovable. Was very lovable because he's been gone a year or so, and so I hate to say, but I'm going to tell you more about the photo session. We preserved his images, and these will go on forever even though he's been gone. And so let me go back to the circumstances surrounding the photo session. When we get phone calls, they'll say, this is, say, Walter Mercado. Walter just sounds like a regular guy, you know, but then they said, be prepared, Harry, he's an astrologer, and he's a kind of eccentric, but you guys will get along really good. And so I didn't know quite what to expect when Walter walked in my studio. And so the doorbell rang, and in came Walter. And Walter has got this tremendous charisma. You can imagine, because the guy's really tuned in to the esoteric world and to the stars and everything. And he's just in love with everybody, even though I was a stranger at that time to him. He just felt like I was a brother and a relative, and we hugged and everything. And so, but Walter, and we got him going, and so we began discussing the stars and the planets and everything, because I was very knowledgeable about astrology because my grandmother was an astrologer. So I grew up with astrology. So I felt real comfortable with Walter. We could discuss it on any level. I wasn't going to be judgmental and say, oh, you don't believe in that and all that stuff. No, but I encouraged Walter to expound during the session and talk to me about what the future was going to be, perhaps. And so what we did was we started him going through his different wardrobe clothes and his clothes that he wears in front of these big audiences. He draws thousands of people when he does a concert. And so he's also was on television a great deal. You might want to look up his documentary. It's on Netflix right now. It's called Mucho, Amor. Amor, Mucho, Amor. Okay, so much love. That's what he had for everybody, for nature, for his life and everything. He was just in love with everything and everybody. And so you'll get a better insight into him. Besides that, you'll see a great many of my photographs on the internet now. If you look up Google Walter Mercado, you'll see him on his own site. And this guy is extremely famous. And so, like I said, we got a chance to really do some wonderful, wonderful photographs. I had to work really quickly because he only gave me about 2 hours to do a big photo session. And so talking and all that, and in between his phone calls and all that. So I work with camera equipment that enables me to work rapidly and efficiently. One camera that I work with all the time, just about, is my Canon EOS camera. And this camera is especially rapid. It's like a little computer. It can read your mind, no pun intended, but it's got an autofocus feature where it'll almost instantly photograph wherever I point the camera. And so that's a big help. I use strobe lights when I'm photographing, so the strobes freeze people's action because Walter was throwing capes around and moving, and he's talking and waving his hands. So I had to freeze the action, so I had to have equipment that worked and enabled me to capture the essence of Walter Mercado. But mainly his essence is really on a little bit more of a spiritual level. So I want to make sure that we captured that. And I think that we did with these shots. You'll see quite a few different shots here. And they're really beautiful. I used a star filter on the camera, which got the stars on the sequins in his jackets. And it gave it more of like a spiritual, ethereal kind of a look, because he was an ethereal kind of a guy. And so he's was a real special man that a lot of people sort of misunderstood, but still loved him. And so Walter was able to get to the masses on TV, and they became where they tune in every day to Walter, and so they kind of get insight whether it was a good or bad day. The next day, Walter would help them out, and so he had a big responsibility. He was really gifted, and ever since he was a child, apparently, he was able to be somewhat on a psychic level and be able to tune into people's thoughts and all that. So you'll read more about Walter on the internet, and I can only tell you so much. All I can tell you is we had a wonderful, wonderful photo session, and I felt really good that we got along so well, partly because I understood what he does, and I was not judgmental. My staff were real cool, and they instantly fell in love with Walter, because Walter's just a real gregarious kind of a man with a real thick Spanish accent that was really charming, and we all really loved him. And I'm going to really miss Walter, but I still have these photos. We shot a couple hundred shots. This is just a little small segment of the session that we did. And so I feel very fortunate to have captured Walter Mercado for future generations, and the people, his image will live on, and even though he's gone, he still will be with us forever and ever. So I'd like to impart this to you guys that with everybody, I feel it's a real big responsibility to capture people's images and the essence of their being with the camera, because I think the camera can capture a little bit of your spirit. This sounds kind of weird, but it captures a little bit of your spirit, and I feel a big responsibility when I do that. And so I save pictures, very carefully. I've got them stored that people will be able to go and refer back to pictures I've done 50, maybe 60 years ago. Got them all stored. So anyway, look at you guys. Thanks for tuning in again. I look forward to giving you another insight into photographing these different celebrities and what it's like and what kind of camera equipment I may use. And it's a real turn on for me to photograph people like Walter and Donna Summer and I don't want to name drop, but my clients are just real supercharged with energy, and I've been able to capture that energy on film and now on digital. And again, I'll look forward to seeing you again. Please write me at my email address, click at earthlink.net, or tune into my website, harrylangdon.com, and you'll see many more of my pictures. Okay, bye everybody. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.